So that's what brings me here is the fact that it's been proposed by the State Land Board for drilling at Lowry. And the State Land Board owns, of the 92 square miles, which is the former Lowry Bombing Range, which was used from 1937 through the 50s for bombing targets with live munitions and also for Titan missile storage. That land was, since the 60s now, it's overseen by the Department of Defense, and I think it's regulated by the Colorado State Department of Health and Environment. The State Land Board owns, of those 92 square miles, they own 37 square miles, and of those they plan, they're considering to allow horizontal hydraulic fracking on 1,600 acres. And so the article that I read in the Denver Business Journal back in February was titled, "Lowry's Oil Royalties Could Yield Millions." And they talked about two possibilities, one being an aggressive build-out which would build 98 wells, and another one that would only build 19 wells on that land. And so I wanted to ask for your opinion about what might be some things that people in the area surrounding there might want to be aware of. And in the area, on the northwest corner of the land is the EPA Superfund site. And surrounding it, on all the other sides, are highly populated residential areas. On the bombing range itself, there's a water reservoir, the Aurora Reservoir, which is used for recreation as well, and also a conservation center. And so and then to the north, I think, is mostly farmland. And currently on the state land, the state land portion of it, they have some vertical wells, I think 70 of them, and concrete recycling and gravel pits. But I think this is a different order of operations in terms of resources needed, all kinds of factors that might make this a different proposition for people in the area.
Well, let's try to get a grasp on the scale of this. First, let's talk about an individual well. This is not your grandfather's well, but tiny little derrick and a couple of trucks drilling straight down. This is a large industrial process. Each well is going to cost $4 to $5 million. It'll take 1,000 to 1,200 tractor trailers per well to do this massive industrial development. At the time of fracking, only 50 to 100 trucks will be parked at the location. It requires a large pad, maybe 3 to 5 acres. Those 50 to 100 trucks that are used during the fracking process, there'll be very large diesel engines to run the pumps, 5 to 10,000 horsepower. So it is significant scale, even for one well. So you can imagine how much truck traffic that is. Often these wells are drilled with an open pit. So after the frack, that is a pit next to the well during drilling for the drilling muds. And then when the well's being fracked, they'll inject 1 to 3 million gallons of fracking recipe, and a portion of that comes back. The fracking recipe, the industry's fond of telling us it's 99 to 99.5% water and sand, which could be correct, but indeed sewage water is 99% water. So it's the toxic components that we're really concerned with. And
like benzene, which is
yes, particularly benzene. But benzene is so toxic, and it's the EPA drinking water criteria for benzene is just 5 parts per billion. You know, it's like a drop in a swimming pool. And thanks to Henry Waxman and Diana Daggett, just 2 weeks ago, they released a report on about some of the chemistry of this. So basically, what it shows of that 0.5%, that's still 5,000 gallons in a million per million gallons of fracking recipe. That 5,000 gallons contains a host of toxic chemicals. Methanol and ethylbenzene and benzene, toluene, xylene, Many of these are used in the complex chemistry the industry wants to undertake.
And these are non-biodegradable chemicals, some of them, right? Like
Many of them are non-biodegradable, and certainly once they're underground, they're absolutely non-biodegradable. Some of them, though, are volatile, and when the portion of the fracking fluid comes back to this open pit, remember it's just open to the sky, so then those volatiles do evaporate, and anybody downwind, will be breathing them. Certainly the workers will.